It's green for go. They're racing.
He says go. He says ta-da. And Tiger Tara rolls away from them on the home turn.
Here comes another big boil over.
Equine athleticism at its best. The king is in the castle once more.
This is in one race. The rest are almost in another postcode.
She is a star with a capital S. It's going to be a triple treat, a miracle three-peat. Ladies and gentlemen, you have witnessed history here at Menangle. What about that?
It's getting right up on the sprint lane and it's going to bolt in.
Hello and welcome to the Sunday session. My name is Greg Hayes and this is part of the Sprint Lane podcast series for Harness Racing New South Wales. All roads led to Bathurst on Saturday night, and there are so many angles to look at this meeting from. Luke McCarthy did something he's never done before on Saturday night, which is a rare event in the sport of harness racing. He won the gold tiara for the first time when he drove Ripples to victory for Emma Stewart and owner Mick Harvey. Ripples is a daughter of Bettor's Delight, more on that in a minute, and she outstayed all of her rivals, sitting three wide for nearly 800 metres before working its way to the death seat. McCarthy nursed the filly down the back, and then when he asked her to get serious approaching the home turn, she went up, eyeball discernment, another filly McCarthy drove in the heats before striding past the leader on straightening. Ripples was a sitting duck for Sparkling Sea after the lather-up filly raced on Ripples' back throughout, but she couldn't reel in Ripples up the straight, and Ripples raced away to score a super victory. Tough effort by the filly, good training performance by Emma Stewart, and a smart drive by McCarthy. It's amazing to see the renaissance Luke is having in his early 40s. He won the first Eureka when Encipher scored, and he teamed up with Emma Stewart on that occasion as well. He came out and he won the second edition of the World's Richest Race when Don Hugo proved too strong. Of course, since then, Don Hugo has won the Inter-Dominion and the Miracle Mile, so it's been an amazing 2 years for Luke on the track. In the season 2019-2020, which was that elongated season, Luke had his most successful in the sulky, winning 247 races, the only time in his career he's eclipsed 200 winners. Since then, 128, 52, 79 and 55. And he's on 28 wins this season after 3 months. So he's pretty close to being on target to get 100 winners for the first time since 2021. The podcast he did with Glenn Boss, that Who's the Boss podcast, made for interesting listening recently. Luke talked about his desire to take out his thoroughbred trainer's license. And when you have been at the top of the sport for so long, you can understand he's looking for new challenges. Luke isn't ready to walk away from harness racing, rather train a few thoroughbreds on the side, something that a few trainers have done in New South Wales in recent years, the likes of Blake Fitzpatrick, Ash Grives. They've both enjoyed success, and James Ponsonby has made a great fist of it since swapping codes. Luke's network of owners and clients would give him a good leg up in the gallops, and I'm really excited to see what he can do in that code of racing. What about Dave Hewitt? He's now a two-time Group 1 winning trainer and a first-time Group 1 winning driver. Rockin' Marty won his first Group 1 when he won the Breeders' Challenge for 3-year-olds in 2019. And now he can add Message Bank to that list after his win in the Gold Crown. A very aggressive drive from Hewitt in the early stages saw him cross the short price favourite Rewatch, and Dave was able to turn it into a sprint home with Message Bank holding off Rewatch, who ducked back to the passing lane with Soho Park Avenue finishing third in a pegs-dominated race. A couple of interesting events in the race. I don't think too many speed maps had Message Bank getting to the front. And then James Herbertson was worried he was going to get caught three back on the pegs on Lucasso, so he pushed off and went to the chair, which locked Rewatch on the leader's back and stopped any thought of a retake with the short price favourite. I remember going out to watch Dave and his brother Bernie Hewitt at Canberra in the mid-90s when I was falling in love with the sport. Dave was a great conditioner back in those days. He won a lot of races in those brown and white colours. It would have been absolute heartbreak for the family after Extreme C broke down in the lead up to the Eureka last year, but as most trainers say, you turn the page and tomorrow's a new day, and less than 12 months later, the stable is celebrating a Group 1 win. I mentioned Bettor's Delight before. What about the influence of Bettor's Delight on the meeting? Side the winner of the first, that was the Graduate, Black Onyx. Side the winner of the Gold Tiara, Ripples. Side the winner of the Gold Chalice, Jack's Ultimate Fury. Was the sire of Give Me 20, which is the mother of Message Bank, and it, of course, won the Gold Crown. Few stallions have left a mark on harness racing like Bettor's Delight. A champion on the track, an absolute powerhouse in the breeding barn. His influence is unmatched. With multiple major wins, including a Breeders' Crown, his racing prowess was undeniable, but it is as a sire where he truly shines. His offspring dominates across North America, Australia and New Zealand, and I think it's fair to say in harness racing, greatness is measured by lasting impact, and Bettor's Delight stands alone. A true legend, his name will echo through the sport for decades to come. What a remarkable stallion Bettor's Delight is and has been. Who's on the podcast today? Well, I can't get Bettor's Delight. I wish I could. What a horse. No, today's all about the Group 1 winners. I'll speak with Dave Hewitt, the trainer-driver of Message Bank, after he won the Gold Crown. My town of Goulburn will be pumping after the win for sure. So Dave will be first up on the podcast. And I'm going to talk to Mick Harvey, the owner and breeder of Ripples, the Gold Tiara winner. Now, I met Mick Harvey about 10 years ago. He'd come along with Gareth Hall to a number of feature race meetings. Nice guy, really friendly, and it's great to see that he's having so much success in the sport of harness racing after investing so much money in it. Mr. T, he'll be back later with a couple of tips. He picked a 4-legged all-up, so I'll have a couple of tips as well in our tipping comp. One of mine was scratched during the week, but he has now set up a bit of a lead on me. More on that later. And I'll have an update in fantasy harness racing. We're up to round 9, so plenty to get to. But first up, let's hear from Dave Hewitt.
And Message Bank stacks and racks them, leads the way 4 metres. In second spot on the outside is Lucasso. Then Rewatch, Usyk feeling the strain. Up on the inside, Pure Grunts running a big race. And they were followed further back then by a Buck 10 and Soho Park Avenue. Message Bank brings the field to the home corner. About a metre in front, Lucasso gives chase. Rewatch is about to go back to the Loveridge Digital Sprint Lane. It's race on. Message Bank, Rewatch, Lucasso. On the outside, it's still Message Bank. It's pulling away Message Bank. Lucasso galloped, and it's going to be Message Banks for the Gold Crown. Message Bank wins.
Well, Dave Hewitt last night at 65 drove his first Group 1 winner. He's trained a Group 1 winner before, but drove his first Group 1 winner when he won the Gold Crown with Message Bank. Of course, the Hewitt name having so much success, Dave himself, but also Brad and even the boys, Scott and Sam there, really cutting their teeth in the industry, and I think Dave would be one very happy man today as he sits back and thinks about Message Bank winning that Gold Crown. Hey, Dave, how are you? Congratulations.
Good on you, Greg. Yeah, thanks a lot.
Mate, it's been you've been involved in the sport probably longer than you care to remember, but to win a big race like last night must be very special for you.
Yeah, no, it was a real thrill, and just with everyone there too, made it even better.
So, Message Bank has always, looked like it's shown ability by, it ran second in a trial, at its first trial, came out and won its heat with Brad driving, and then, of course, you've driven it in the final. So, has it always shown that it had loads of ability?
Well, he's a big horse, and and not really a 2-year-old type in that way. He's a bit slow moving and that, but he just started to wake up a bit in the last month or two, and showed he just had a little burst, I thought this horse is going to come to it, So he started working really good with Rewatch and Sparkling Sea, so we thought they were all going pretty good anyway.
Barrier 6, when the barrier draw came out, what did you think? Not ideal?
Probably better for him, because he was showing off the gate even in his green trial and then last week Brad said he was showing off the hood and but we were hoping he was going to be better last night, which he was, and probably better drawn there than, in on the 1 or something like that.
Yeah. Once you got to the front, what did you think? I've got a good chance of winning this race?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't even let him track work. Well, I haven't, really. He didn't know what to do on that. But, he's just starting to, each run will start to wake him up, I think. And just on last week's heat win, it gave me a lot of confidence anyway.
Ross Angove, the breeder and owner of the 2-year-old. What's the story with you and Ross? How did that all come about?
Yeah, well, I've known him as Pancho for years, and He lives over near Canberra at Sutton there, and I've known him all that time, but I've only just started. I had leave a message last year, you know.
Yep.
And then I just got this bloke to break in and go on with him, and I've known him for a long time, but never had a horse with him till last year.
Mate, what are the plans with Message Bank going forward?
He'll just sell now, and same as the filly, and we'll give him 3 months off and just get him back for the British Challenge. That's the plan at the moment, anyway.
Okay. Sparkling Sea, you must have been proud of her as well. I spoke with Brad on the podcast last week, and he said to me that neither of the horses had been off the place. So, you know, they've obviously, you know, they've taken that step once they've been away from home. They've gone to the races. They've obviously enjoyed it. They both raced well last night.
Yeah, no, and arrived there last night, and not a worry, and just looks like they're two naturals at it anyway, and we a bit hard to load them a couple of times, you know, the pair of them last week going to the races, you know, and but anyway, they were no worries. They sort of know what's going on now. It's good.
And so she goes to the paddock as well. She came late. It was probably another 30 or 40 metres, and she wins that race.
Yeah, I haven't been talking to Brad very much about it, but just watching the tape myself, there's not much more you could have done, you know. Yeah,
mate.
She nice filly though.
Yeah, for sure and certain, no doubt about that. Serene Sea, the mum. Gee, she's only had a couple of foals, but they both look like they're pretty handy.
Yeah, that's right. No, we liked her. She had brilliant speed, but she just couldn't. Didn't have the brains to go with it. And so I retired and got her in foal, and was well fed there, and that was Extreme Sea. So and she's got a Bulldog Hanover filly on her now, so and in foal again to Confederate. So we think a bit of her anyway.
Wow! So you've gone top shelf with Confederate now. Yeah,
well, you know, Extreme Sea sort of helped us do that, so we're having a shot anyway.
Yeah, for sure and certain. That's exciting. What about Extreme Sea? What's news with him? Is he any closer to a racetrack return?
No, well, he had to have a couple of more months off at the last can, and we just thought we might just to get it. We're hoping to get him to Brisbane in the winter, you know, but if we could have kept on going with him, and so we'll get him in about then, and hopefully everything's right by then.
Has it been tough watching the big races after seeing, you know, like he beat Don Hugo in at Wagga and seeing Don Hugo being competitive and winning all these feature races? Have you been sitting there going, gee, I wish he'd held together?
Yeah, well, you do, but Don Hugo's jumped out of the ground, just got better and better too, hasn't he? So, let's just hope we can get him back and have another crack at him anyway.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, mate, look, for you to still be driving at 65, you went through a time there in your career where driving would have been the last thing in your mind. You had a pretty serious injury, didn't you?
Yeah, well, I had a couple of injuries and I was out for a while, and that's when, the boys kicked in the gear because they were just about that age. Brad was only really young, I think only about 16 or 17 when I got hurt the first time, and I was out of driving for 16, 18 months, you know. And the other boys got going along behind, I was starting to enjoy it like that too. But then I had another injury, but anyway, like I said, with the boys driving, I didn't really have to be doing it so much. Yeah.
So did you break your neck?
No, just collarbone and shoulder. That first fall, it was a pretty good one, but it took a while to get right again after that one.
And then the second one, what happened in the second one?
Yeah, I redone the collarbone. It was a bit of a mess, and just had to get that all patched up again. Yeah.
Okay. So does it give you any trouble nowadays?
Not really, Greg. You know, they've done a great job. Just little things, you know, and will get me, but it's you manage that, you know.
Yeah. So like last night after you won the race, what was the feeling like? Because you know, winning that elusive Group 1, you've been involved in the sport for so long. Like, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, well, I've never really aimed it, never had the stock to have a crack at it much, you know, either. So it was just, I knew we were in with a chance, but you know, I've been some good trainers and horses there. So it was a real thrill anyway to to get over the line.
And how many outside horses would you have in your stable? You and Marie obviously own majority of them, but do you have a lot of outside horses in the barn?
No, well, just leave a message bank and just another filly at the moment. Mirador Lash, just sort of, and then the others are just our own, what we bred.
Yep.
I know, yeah.
And how many mares would you be breeding a season?
4 or 5, mainly about 5.
Okay.
A couple of times 6, but about 5, yeah.
And you keep them all? You don't breed to sell any of them?
I've been, sell the geldings on, but I've just had enough to keep things ticking over, for ourselves, but sell them on, and at any time, but they've got to be good enough too to sell.
Yeah. And the fact that like Bernie and all these kids were there last night, so it was a bit of a family affair for you.
Yeah, no, there was plenty of family support there. Really good, yeah.
Mate,
and that's yep.
It's fantastic to see because I've been following the sport for the best part of 30 years, and I remember when I first started following Canberra harness. You were the king down there, and you've gone on and developed, and the boys have come through and followed you through. It's just a great story, the Hewitt family. Yeah,
well, I didn't know whether the boys would want to do it. We gave them opportunities to do whatever they wanted to, But I suppose it seems to be when it gets in your blood, it's hard to get it out. And no, they've all done it. And Jess, my daughter, she loves it. And great family support anyway. They were all over the moon for me. That's good.
So with Brad, Scott, and Sam, like you gave them the option, as you said, to move into harness racing, but there was you didn't force them. You were happy for them to do whatever they wanted to do as they were coming through.
Yeah, that's right. No, it'd be the same as any parents, I'd say. Just let the kids just do what they want, just as long as you're happy. So that's the main thing, isn't it?
Mm. But I'll tell you what, if the kids went through the sale ring back in the day, they would have gone for a fair buck because you and then obviously Marie being a day. So they're extremely well bred. You've done a fantastic job with them, mate. Congratulations on last night. Probably something you'll never forget. And it's always good to see nice people winning good races. So congratulations on winning your first Group 1 as a driver.
Good on you, Greg. Beauty.
Third quarter was 28.1, and first into the straight here is Discernment. Ripples down the outside, Sparkling Sea. There's nothing going back to the Loveridge Digital passing lane, but Ripples hits the lead. This has been tough. Here's Sparkling Sea flashing late, but Ripples parked outside them all of the way and has outstayed them.
Well, that was one of the strongest performances I've seen in a 2-year-old fillies race in a Group 1. Ripples sitting outside the leader doing all the work. Took a best part of 800 metres to get to the chair, and then she just soldiered on from there. She is a filly by Better's Delight. She's owned and bred by Mick Harvey, and Mick Harvey's joining me to have a chat. G'day, Mick. How are you?
Yeah, good. I'm still over the moon. It was fantastic. So it's a big buzz for us, yeah.
Mate, you go into a night like last night, you've got Ripples, you've got Rewatch, you've got Hesitate. It must be pretty special to go to the races when you've got a night like that.
Absolutely. All your dreams, we all plan and you do all these things, you put them together. And when you get in those races, it was fantastic. So it was had no really big expectations, but it was just good to be part of it and get your horses in those races, as now a breeder. To try and get in those Group 1 races, a big buzz. So we went there with three chances, and it was a great night.
So Ripples, tell us about her. She's obviously only had the 2 starts. She's won them both. She's been super impressive on both occasions. Has Emma always thought that she had loads of ability?
Yeah, well, her journey started in New Zealand. I bred her. I've got some mares over there as well, and full credit to Mark Jones and the team over there. And she did some early work over there, and we brought her over. But you're right, yeah, from day one, Emma and Clayton and the team there, they said that she's above average. And you sort of just like when they're babies like that, you're not sure how they're going to go. But she's a big, strong filly, and she's very well bred. Naya Nike Franco's sister, who's got the superstar at the moment, Bay of Biscay, running around. So she's nicely bred, by Better's Delight. And I think we've seen that come out last night. The Better's, she just had a lot of strength, didn't she?
She did. What were the plans before the race? Like, Luke seemed happy to work to the chair. There was from the start of the race.
Well, he's the king in the driving, and I have to say he was a lot more confident than I was. I thought, we're going to be a bit of trouble out here, but he said, no, it's all good. He goes, she went super in the heat. He said she just gave him such a good feel. He said, I could have went quicker. He said, I've got no problem parking out with this filly. He said, I think she'll still do the job. You know, he was very, very confident. He still had to go and do it, but he thought that from his drive in the heat that she was one horse that could do it. Yeah,
mate. Obviously, when you were, back when you first started, and you were buying horses, and they get into big races, and you win them, it's special. But when you're actually breeding them and then taking them to the races and seeing them win, that's got to give you a special little feeling.
Definitely, yeah. It's like your kids in a way.
Yeah.
So you get extra proud, and yeah. Look, I think used to do a bit of sifting through and analysing, and trying to buy some nice horses. We had a bit of fun there, and then there was ones you just couldn't get, and so and raced some nice mares, and decided to breed, and just started into the breeding, and the last few years, and they're sort of making the track now, and it's really, really exciting. But last night was a big buzz for sure.
How do you do your pick your stallions and things like that? Is that all done just off the top of your head, or do you go through and do analysis? Like, how does that all happen?
Yeah, no, I do. I probably overdo it. I almost confuse myself. But I just look at crosses and nicks and families in particular. I say to certain families, and I think speed. I mean, there's some great people in Australia, yourself, some good people, but you need speed, and then you get some great horse people and horsemen that can look after them and get them to the races and drive them well. But I'm pretty much looking at certain same in my mares, and then what's the best crosses with those.
So, how many mares you got now?
16 or 17.
Yep. So it's
and they're all pretty much all Group 1 quality mares. So I just figure that you got to try and give yourself the best chance if you can.
Do you breed to sell any, or do you keep the lot?
I'm keeping the lot. That's got to come to an end eventually. So I'm even thinking about next year. Some of the boys might go to the sale and just keep the girls, just keeping the fillies. So like last night, Ripples was she got up but we also had rewatching the 2-year-old boys, and he's out of one of the good families that I've got. So but going forward, I think some of the boys might end up in the sale.
So what are the plans for Ripples now going forward?
Yeah, good question. I don't know. I didn't speak to Emma Clayton last night. I think she'll, it's been like for all of them, not just us. Everyone sort of come through a campaign, and to get there, I think they'll ease her up and have a look where she'll go to next. I'm not 100% sure, but I think she's entitled to have a bit of an ease up, but there's a lot of options going forward for her, yeah.
Okay. You mentioned Rewatch. He finished second in the Gold Crown. He looks a pretty nice type too, and speaking with Brad last week, he's very, very confident with him that he's going to make a really nice racehorse. He's another one that you bred. He's by Captain Crunch, and it could have been a really big night for you had it won.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it, how things work out. Like I probably was more confident in him winning than Ripples, given the draw, the favourable draw. It's fair to say that he's probably better than that. I know he finished second, and I'm not downplaying it, but he can rip a 26 quarter easily, and he's just probably come to the end of his campaign. He's probably just, unfortunately, just a week or two too late for him. He's been up and about for a long time, and he's done a terrific job. And look, he was still very, very good last night. It was terrific that David got up and got his first Group 1 drive. Brad's dad, found the front, and we weren't good enough to get past him, but it was super exciting. Yeah.
And Hesitate as well. It finished second, and he got absolutely garroted during the race. Must have been proud of him too.
Yeah, I think as though we didn't win the race, it was still, I still like we come out with a few ticks, like it's sort of, knowing him, he's had a few quirks and absolutely showed none of that last night. I mean, I think Kate had a bit of a tough drive and couldn't hold her horse, and he was just really rare and put a lot of pressure on us throughout the race. So Hesitate did an enormous job, and the winner was too good and fantastic. They both they gapped the third place horse, and Jack's Ultimate Fury, terrifically bred horse. I think it's Ultimate Machete and all that family. He's a half brother too, but he's going to do well. He'll get plenty out of that race. I mean, he was very tractable last night. He did nothing wrong. That was probably the best he's gone as far as behaving himself, and that was a massive good sign for us going forward with him.
So, mate, I know you've got something to do this morning, but just quickly, how did you get started in harness racing?
A good friend, Mr. Gareth Hall.
Is that how it all started? Through the friendship with Gareth? Through
the friendship with Gareth, yeah. I had thoroughbreds and everything, and he was, I think he might have been doing in the gig or something. He was hosting something up in Skye in Manly, and that's my main address, and he was at me about buying a pacer, and this went on for months and months, and then, I don't know, we got me at the weak moment, I bought one, and of course what happened, it came out in one first start, and then away we went and started buying some more horses, and it was great. Now I'm passionately involved. I love it.
and so you can just see your involvement getting bigger and bigger?
I don't want to get it too big. I'm not with the missus, and I hope she doesn't hear this, but it takes a fair investment, not only financially but time.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's great fun. And it's just as I think you said earlier, it's a different feeling again when you're it's a long process. You first you sift through and you find the stallion, put it to your man, and all that process to get there, get them in file, and then you've got the whole gestation period, and then through the weaning and weanlings and yearlings, and then you get them up to start to race, and that's about 3.5 years to get to last night. It's a big wait.
And how do you choose your trainers? Have you just got trainers everywhere? Is that how it works, or do you?
No, I don't have trainers everywhere, but I do have different ones. I think that I'm thinking to myself, if you have them all in one place, it can be a bit tricky. You're racing yourself a lot. So we've got some down in Victoria with Emma Clayton at the moment, and it's fair to say they've got a great team and great operation, and they're champion juvenile trainers, and they get a lot of success. So it's good going there. And then we've got Brad. I actually have a place in the Southern Highlands, not too far from Goulburn, so it's a good fit there. I'm lucky. I've got a good team around. I've got, Andy Towers does a lot, and Lizzie Heath down the road, and Sam Hewitt, he does a lot of great work for us, and educating the young ones and bringing them on. So it's really, really good. And in Victoria, I've got Tyrone and Bella, who's got a great facility down there, and they do a lot of work with the young ones, and then we just sort of place them, and Luke's got some, and so that's the main thing, is just sort of put a couple around here and there and give them their opportunity.
Well, mate, it's always good to see people who invest a lot of money in the sport having some success and enjoying it, and that's exactly what you're doing at the moment. Thanks very much for joining me, and all the best of luck going forward.
Cheers, Hayden. Always good to have a chat, mate. Thank you.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Winning. Hey, that's pretty good.
Winner!
That was legitness.
To that I say, all right. Wow, winning.
Bam! Just like that. That's all there is to it. That's all there is to it. A winner. Just like that.
And the winner is...
Oh, isn't Mr. T walking around like a bantam rooster? He gave us a 4-leg all-up last week, and they all saluted. He mentioned he was hoping for a $3.50 result. Well, it ended up paying $4.05, so $81 back for his 20. Congratulations, Mr. T. One of my tips was scratched. The other one finished second, so no result for me. So, Mr. T, positive $41 after 2 weeks, and I am negative 14. So, handy lead after just the fortnight. Mr. T's tips are both at Bathurst on Wednesday. Race 5, number 1, Mighty Flying Art gets into the race as a $10,000 claimer. Last win was back on January 17 and has failed to place since. But Nathan Turnbull has found a nice race for it, and from the good draw should take some beating. So that's race 5, number 1, Mighty Flying Art. And in race 7, Mr. T likes Hop Along Pog for Matt Rue. It's only had the 3 starts, 1 win, 1 placing. Did all the work when it won its maiden outside the leader. Chased home Foxdown last start at Bathurst in a heat of the chalice. So understandably well beaten. Looks more suited on Wednesday. So that's race 7, number 5, Hop Along Pog. My 2 for Goulburn on Monday. Race 2, number 2, Magic Captain, finished second at $11 at Goulburn 2 starts ago. Went to Bathurst last time out, got caught outside the leader, beaten by a horse that had a softer run. Looks really hard to beat on its home track. So that's race 2, number 2, Magic Captain. Oh, and I'm really keen on this horse. Race 8, number 8, Mickey Be Good. Massive, massive fan. Trialled the house down at Menangle recently. They went 152.4. Savaged the line on that occasion. I reckon he's got the ability to win a really nice race somewhere in his career. So I'm going to go with Mickey Be Good. That is race 8, number 8. I thought I was having a good week in fantasy harness racing, and then I checked what everyone else had, and no, I've just had an average week. Troy McDonald is looking the goods on Sunday morning in round 9. He's got 845 points. Mick 70 is second on 819. Chock Wedge third on 813. Obviously, still some meetings to go before that we wrap up round 9. Overall, Boil Over is on 6,694. Manning 90 is on 6,678. So there's not too much between the top 2. And then Larry and Harry's back on 6,669. So not much between the top few teams. Big points won at Bathurst last night, that's for sure. That just about wraps up the podcast for another week. Big thank you to Dave Hewitt and Mick Harvey for joining me on the show. I'll be back next week for another edition of the Sunday session, but it's bye for now. Catch you next week.